In psychological horror, the setting is never just the background. It is, inherently, a mirror for the most disgusting trauma buried deep inside the human mind. And that, my friends, is the world of Livber. This is a visual novel that proves that you don't need photorealism or complex mechanics. You just need pure, devastating terror. It's only 2 hours long, but in that tiny span, Livber slams you with a twist so violent, so profoundly human, it reframes every single nightmare you just survived. This isn't a regular ghost story, it's a confession. Let's dive into this beautiful, ugly world of Livber and Gaia. But seriously, some major spoiler warnings coming up. The game opens with immediate, crushing, gothic dread. A letter from your wife, Lilith. There's just one issue. She's been dead for 5 years. And yet you, the protagonist, accept this without question. You buy into the neat little narrative. She was a mad woman, dabbling in forbidden alchemy, performing a dark ritual of flesh and spirit. Now she's returned from the grave to complete it. This isn't world building. No. This is the protagonist's lie, and the game forces us to live inside it like it's gospel. Gaia, the world itself, is real. The town of Livber is real. Those are not illusions, but the way we see them is. Livber doesn't ask you to question the lore, it asks you to question the storyteller. The entire setting becomes a stage built from half-truths and self-serving omissions, where everything we're told is bent just enough to protect one man from his own memory. The game weaponizes alchemy and lore as misdirection. We get flavor text, symbols, religions, forbidden mixtures, the grand unification, an afterlife promised to those who die under a certain ritual. It all feels rich, dense, and fully realized. But all of that foundation exists to support a single rotten beam, our protagonist's version of events. Then there's the constant two-door mechanic. On paper it looks like a puzzle. In practice, it's something much worse. It is cognitive dissonance made manifest. Every time you are forced to choose between two doors, you are not solving a maze in a house. You're stumbling through a mind that refuses to stand still. Each door is a branching justification, a frantic edit in a script that should have ended a long time ago. You are not navigating a cellar, you're navigating excuses, wandering a fractured narrative that's desperately trying to hold itself together. Visually, Livber looks like a collage of crude sketches and heavy paintings, but by the time you understand why, it's too late. These aren't just stylistic choices. They are artifacts of a man who refuses to leave his house for 65 months. After Lilith's death, our protagonist enters a self-imposed exile. He stays in that house, alone, rotting with it. Every month, he descends into another mental journey where he revisits his memories, breaks under the weight of them, dies inside his own mind, and starts over. As objects decay or disappear from the house, he draws them so he can keep replaying the same scenes. The hand-drawn visuals aren't just style, they are our protagonist's sketches, his props, his sacred stage. Anything tied to the past is rendered in that rough, fragile style. You aren't just seeing what happened, you're seeing what he had to recreate in order to keep suffering. But the delusion goes deeper than just an endless home painted in madness. Let's talk about Clara, the stitched young woman. At first, the game frames her as Lilith's experiment, and it's so easy and so tempting to see her as a mangled, ideal lover, the version of Lilith our protagonist wanted her to carve herself into. That was my initial read too. But the dev's narrative logs reveal something far more intimate and devastating. Clara is not Lilith. Clara is our protagonist's unlived childhood. She's the exaggerated, monstrous version of the boy he never got to be. He lost his mother in an alchemical accident when he was 8 years old, an explosion he caused while trying to help her. That single moment shattered everything. There was no soft boyhood after that, no gentle growing up. So Clara becomes the embodiment of that stolen childhood, constructed in the wrong shape, the wrong gender, the wrong body. She's a walking contradiction, a girl made from borrowed pieces, representing a boy who never forgave himself. a self that doesn't even recognize itself anymore. Under Clara's cracked skin is the truth, not a monster, not a project, just a child torn apart by expectation and shame. Then there's Keenan, the half-torsoed corpse hanging in the cellar. He isn't just some grotesque ornament. He is everything the protagonist never said, left to rot inside him. Keenan starts as yet another man Lilith supposedly kidnapped and experimented on, a failed replacement. But by the time the story crystallized, he became something much more brutal, a personality fragment, a mirror our protagonist can't look away from. Every unspoken word, every repressed feeling, every cowardly silence he choked down. Keenan has swallowed them all, and now he coughs them back up in front of you. He's a literal half-man for a man who refused to be whole. Down in the depths we find Leigea, our protagonist's mother. As we talked about previously, she died when he was a child, in that explosion he caused. Lilith never met her. The idea that mother would never approve is another fantasy, a cruel little fiction he feeds himself to justify his insecurity and push Lilith away. But Leia's final role isn't an antagonist. It's a guide. And her goal is horrifyingly simple. She wants her son to die, for real this time, to break the loop, to release him from the endless cycle of self-inflicted punishment. And lastly, we have the narrator. The deeper you go, the clearer it becomes. The narrator isn't some external voice of reason. He is the self that survives on lies. He is the part of him that tells him what to think, when to move, when to hide, when to look away. He is the slippery intelligence that edits memory, rearranges cause and effect, and insists that we, the player, trust him. He's not just talking to you. He's talking for you. You trust him, not because he's right, but because he's the only voice you have left. And what was our hero trying to escape so badly that he lost his mind to delusions, you ask? At first, it's easy to assume he was running from responsibility, inventing delusions to escape some ordinary domestic burden of fatherhood. That was the comforting interpretation, but the truth is much more messy. There was a ritual, but it wasn't about creating a child or some grand experiment of flesh. It was about death. Lilith believed in the grand unification, the religious promise that if they died under the right conditions, they would be united beyond death. She prepared a ritual to kill both herself and our protagonist so their love could transcend into the sacred void. And he did not want to die. He did not want to follow her faith to the end. So he reported her. Not to protect her, not to protect a child, to protect himself. The soldiers in this world are notoriously cruel. Dark alchemy is strictly forbidden. He knew what would happen, and he turned her in anyway. They dragged her away, and she cried out, "My love," as they took her to execution, a phrase that looped in his mind for all 65 months that followed, which is why Lilith says it so much. He didn't just lose her, he betrayed her. This man is no hero or savior chased by the ghost of his dead wife. No, he is cowardly and wretched. By the end of the second act, we are meant to understand why he wanted to escape Lilith and stop sympathizing with him altogether, because his motives lay in selfishness, and we should not shed a tear for the events to come. Despite its length, Livber branches into 8 routes, spiraling towards 4 devastating existential conclusions. This is where the game demands a verdict from you. What do you do with the truth? Do you continue the cycle, eternally replaying your self-inflicted torment? Do you die, becoming one with the spirit world in an act of surrender or atonement? Do you fully embrace the madness, living forever in your fabricated delusion? Or do you simply wake up and forget, cleansing your mind of the crime entirely? None of these endings are comforting, and that is the point. Livber offers no redemption, only reflections on how pathetic we are at coping with guilt and the consequences we're too afraid to face. And just when you think Livber is done with you, We've got two huge announcements recently. One is a massive quality of life upgrade for the game itself, and the other is for all you music-loving goths out there. First, the November update. They added a branching roadmap. If you've played other VNs, you know the struggle. I would have been stuck here days upon days, starting from the beginning, trying to track down that one missed choice. But this aid, it lets you jump to any scene and start a new branch from there. This was absolutely essential for me to complete every route. Seriously, I wish more visual novels would take this approach instead of just giving you a useless skip button and calling it a day. Bravo to the devs here. And the second edition, it's not in the game, but it's pure bliss. Just last week, they released the entire OST for streaming. So if that moody, gothic, void-heavy atmosphere got under your skin, and I know it did, you can now listen to the sounds of Eternal Guild to your heart's content. Perfect study music, maybe? Probably not. And listen, the developers aren't stopping here. They already have a roadmap of future updates they want to add. We're talking professional voiceovers, stunning new CGs, and other grand, ambitious endeavors. So keep your eyes glued to this game, because it's only going to continue to evolve and get even more devastating. In the end, if you love psychological horror in the vein of Silent Hill 2 or Amnesia Rebirth, where the monster is always the man in the mirror, Livber is absolutely essential. It forces you to stare into the quiet brutality of human cowardice and ask the one terrifying question: how far will a man go to avoid becoming who he was meant to be?